Welcome to the Success Sensei Podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devane.
Bowing, and this is Roundhouse, Rob the Success Sensei, helping you to win at life one kick and punch at a time. Episode 129. But you are lazy. So that might seem a bit harsh, and I'd hate for these podcasts to be preachy, although sometimes I might skirt along that border. But I'm definitely referring to me as well as yourselves. It's definitely to do with my own life experience, my own laziness as well as your own. Things that I tell myself to combat it or to make sure that I keep it in check. And you know what? We are all lazy. It's very important that you have someone in your life that will pull you up on it every so often and get you back on track. None of this relates to you if you aren't striving to be more successful in your life. If you want to be more successful in your life and there's areas that potentially could be considered to be lazy, then you really need to look at those things. You don't have to look at those things if you are not looking to achieve more, attain more, experience more. If that's not what motivates you, if chasing success and and improving your life isn't something that motivates you, then this doesn't relate to you at all. If you're also the type of person that is going to be offended or upset because we're saying that you're lazy, I'm lazy, all of us are lazy, and we definitely, as busy as we think we are, we can streamline our lives for better productivity. If that offends you, then definitely don't listen to this episode, because we would all love to have a mentor or an uncle, a family member, a spouse to pull us up when our standards have kind of slipped. It's very easy during what's going on right now, COVID-19. We're all in quarantine. We're all trying to protect ourselves and our family for the virus. And guess what? Our productivity has not increased. We have been telling ourselves for years, and I guarantee you you're in the same boat as me. We've all been telling ourselves for years that if we had more time, we would be able to achieve more. If we had more time, we would do all those things that are on the back burner that we haven't gotten around to doing. All those large goals, all those goals that may not be urgent right now today that we've put off, but they are certainly important, and we put them off for the future. We said we would do them, and here we are, officially I think 4 weeks into the quarantine, depending on which country you're living in. And have you started any of those things? We have lied to ourselves. We've told ourselves that the barrier to us doing certain things and certain large goals in our life is time. Time has been given to us now. That obstacle has been removed for our lives. And guess what? We still haven't even started to tackle these things. So what is it? Well, unfortunately, like it or lump it, it probably is laziness. Yeah, we can dicky it up. We can tart it up and say that it's procrastination, but more than likely it is laziness. Beware of justifying your laziness. I didn't fully read the article today, but I half read an article today justifying our laziness during COVID-19, why we haven't achieved more. And yes, they are all valid points, but if you give into it and you're accepting of it, guess what? You're being knocked off your path towards success. You can still work towards your goals during the quarantine, during your isolation, during COVID-19. We could be in this for an extended period of time. God only knows how long we're going to be in this quarantine. So while you may have hit pause on your life at the start of this, you may as well now take your foot off the brake, put it back on the accelerator, and refocus and reset and start to achieve the things that you said you would do if you had the time. And guess what? You have the time. So justification, saying to yourself, yeah, but I've got a lot of anxiety, or I'm stressed out, or the news is stressing me out. I have so much of that stress hormone, the cortisol stress hormone, that it's tiring me out every day. I'm eating so much. All of these things is justification. It might be true. It absolutely might be true. All of us are doing that. but it's to fight against it. That's what this motivation, that's what I'm trying to give you, the self-motivation to fight against it. And while some of that will take place, while some of your laziness is important, I guarantee you that you have far too much laziness in your life, and you're justifying the laziness in your life as well, which is holding you back. Again, none of this is relevant to you if you are not striving to be more successful than you currently are. So if you want to be more successful, you got to be doing more. You got to be more focused, and you got to give less into your laziness, into your procrastination, into your justification. To achieve things that you're not currently doing, or things that you don't currently have, to achieve more, you have to sacrifice more. Now, a word of warning about sacrifice. If you're not prepared to sacrifice, then that's fine. Scratch that goal off your list. Don't have a false goal that you're not prepared to work towards, or you're not prepared to engage with the sacrifice that's required for you to achieve those goals. We all have things that we're not prepared to do the sacrifice for. So don't keep them as false goals. Scratch them off. I'll give you a quick example. Again, I'm not mad about making personal examples, but anything that would sacrifice my time with my children, or missing something in my children's lives, is not a sacrifice I'm prepared to make, so I will scratch that off my goals. So you might have kids, you might not have kids. It might be something to do with something you're not prepared to do in order to achieve it, or you're not prepared to live a certain way to achieve. That's fine. Don't lie to yourself. Get rid of that goal, or change the goal, or adapt. You don't have to make every sacrifice that doesn't suit you, but be aware that to do more, to achieve more, to attain more will require certain sacrifices. And that is the issue with a lot of people. They're not prepared to change their daily routine or their mindset to achieve what they want to achieve. So therefore, they're just dreaming. They're not actual goals, and they're not actual plans, and they will never happen. So beware of having to work a little bit harder in certain areas, and certainly having to manage your time and focus a little bit better. Now, can you be too obsessive? It's up to you where you're at. I'd be fairly obsessive, but I'm not as obsessive as some of the billionaires I would read about, who's, to me, are making larger sacrifices than I would be prepared to make, who 100% are living in the subject matter in their work, and sacrificing every other relationship in their lives. I'm not that far. I don't know where you're at on the spectrum, but you're going to have to find your level and see what you think is too obsessive, or what do you think. Do you think you're overly obsessive, or do you think you're underachieving at the moment? Now, I would hazard a guess that the majority of people, even being medium obsessive, which is probably where I'm at, I still have areas that I really need to look at, and areas that, laziness, and it is laziness. That's one of those terms, being lazy, that's probably not socially acceptable anymore. It's probably not politically correct. We should be saying, time challenged or something like that instead. But you know what? Time, as we said at the very start, isn't a factor. So right now, you need to get focused. If you're saying that you're not where you want to be, you need to be able to do this, make the sacrifices that you need to get there. If having too much time off, if you're spending too much relaxed times, if you're watching too much news, if you're watching too much television, if you're reading too many books, if you just can't account for all your time and it's flying by but you're not actually achieving very much, then you really need to look at the structure of your life right now. I don't care that this is temporary. This temporary situation is certainly dragging on, so it's more permanent than you realized. So try not to justify your laziness. Realize that you'll have to make more sacrifices to achieve more, and try not to be too obsessive, but make sure you find out where you are on that spectrum and push a little bit more. I want you to have more success in your life, regardless of COVID-19. I want you to be working on your goals, whether they're small goals, medium goals, or large goals. Knock them off your list, because there's going to be more goals added. You're going to be reworking your new goals. Scratch off the ones that aren't relevant to you anymore. Eradicate the laziness. There's far too much justification of laziness right now, because we feel that we're being put out of our normal day-to-day routine. It's so easy I've done it myself. I definitely did it for the first couple of weeks, justifying, just watching and seeing what happens and just waiting. But the time to wait is over. It's now the time to start doing stuff. Do those things. What is it that you said you'd always love to do, but you thought you'd never get around to do it? You know, you might be one of the DIYers painting your house. That's fine. I'm one of those, hands up. But what about the things that you said you would write? What about the thoughts and the plans you said you would have? What about the goals you haven't gotten around to, that you've kept putting on the long finger, that every year you kept moving them forward? Do those now. Just start them now. If you're a writer, if you want to be a writer, if you've never written anything and you've always dreamt of writing a book, guess what? You've got time to work on it now. Pull out the laptop, get cracking. What happens if you wanted to do a painting? What happens if you wanted to write a song? What happens if all of these things that we say, oh, we must do in our lives, whatever they may be? My imagination isn't actually as vivid as all the ideas that I imagine everybody out there has. So just get cracking. Just start somewhere. Do it now. At the end of COVID-19, I'd love you to be able to turn around and say, what did I do? What did I achieve? And you actually have a list and you go, I did such and such, bam, 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 bam. All on your list. 10 points, more if you can do it, of what you... I would hate for you to turn around and say, all that time you were in quarantine, I can't justify my time. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. I have no list. I can't say. I don't care if they're small things. I don't care if you painted your wall. Write it down on your list. You'll know how you spent your time. You'll feel a bit better if you actually have a list of things that you did. Now, if you don't have a list of things that you want to be doing, get that list going. Listen to the other podcasts where we talk about goals and get cracking on it. But eliminate laziness. This right now, it's so easy to be lazy. It's so easy to justify your laziness. It's so easy not to make the sacrifices that are needed for you to further yourself and further your life. Have a think about it. Have a think. As I said, I'm always saying, if I can just get your brain, the cogs and the wheels of your brain moving, and you because you have the answers in your head already, you don't need me to give them to you. But if I just kind of stimulate some kind of a thought process that gets you doing the things, that gets you to a point where you feel your life is a little bit more fulfilled despite your lack of freedom at the moment, then I'm happy with that. And absolutely give me your feedback. I love to hear back from everybody. Thank you for listening. I'm Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight you can enjoy and win. Bowing out.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.